I came up with the idea to create a football board game when I was just 9 years old. And this culminated from my love of football and board games. Board games, more specifically chess. I've played chess for such a long time in my life. I qualified for the London Chess Championship finals at a much younger age. And I've played chess with my friends, my family. My dad used to play chess as well with me. And in terms of football, I always used to go to the matches with my dad. Obviously, that's been limited now with my GCSEs coming up, unfortunately. I still get to try and watch it whenever I can. But one day when I came back from the match, from a Chelsea match, I came home, I realised that there were no actual football board games, none that I could actually buy, that would actually interest me too much. And so I decided to sketch one out. And me and my dad both played it at the same time. And it was kind of like a eureka moment when we were like, you know what, this is actually a great board game. Football Billionaire is a trading card board game, and not just any football board game, but it's the best-selling football board game in the world. We've sold over 100,000 copies, and as I mentioned, it's a trading card board game, where players move around the board, collecting a goalkeeper, defenders, midfielders, and forwards, with the aim of building, the best team and being the most successful football club owner ever. The reason it's different from, any other football board games is because we actually do licensing editions. So we've done license editions for 3 Premier League teams at the moment, obviously being West Ham, Manchester City, and Chelsea. And, that's what makes us stand out from most of the board games. I think the reason and the incentive I got of making a board game was I feel like, especially with this generation and obviously the generation past, but mainly this generation, kids seem to be spending, and children generally seem to be spending a lot less time, with their families. Now, I feel like a main factor of that is obviously the availability of things like social media, but not just that, games like FIFA and PS4 and PS5, and you've got the whole bunch, haven't you? And so, there was a time when I was much younger, whether it be 10 years ago, where I was sitting down on my couch with my family. We'd have our family time Friday night when I come back from school and playing a board game. I always used to love those times. I am pushing for entrepreneurship to be mandatory in all schools from a very young age. Now, why do I believe that this is an important thing? People are probably asking. Well, I think it's very key for people to do 3 main things. Now, why? I'll tell you those 3 main things. So, obviously, people, especially young children, start having savings accounts and bank accounts from such a young age. Obviously, I started mine at the age of 7. And I know, many people do. Something that's very important is knowing how to save your money. I think that's very important. Obviously, something setting you up for the future. And, savings account, something that will help you, not just when you're a teenager, when you come out of university, but with many things, buying a house, buying a car, knowing how to spend your money wisely. Obviously, saving the money is one thing, but if you go out spending your money on the wrong stuff, there's not really much point in doing that. And also knowing how to invest your money. I've started my business from a very young age. I would love to be a great influence on the young generation to go on and start their own businesses and do what I've done for any aspiring entrepreneurs or people that want to, try and make it in the future, and, try and maybe even do something that I've done, even if whether it's a board game or whether it's something else. If you have an idea and you put hard work into it, you never know what could come out of it. I've always had a very special and close bond, not just to my dad, but to my younger brother and my mum and everyone in my family. I think that's very important in life. Obviously, being close with everyone in your family, specifically having them having brought me up, having raised me with the attributes that I behold. I think it's very important to be very close to your parents. We've actually just released a new game called. The latest one is called Billionaire. But it's a different type of board game that's come from a different perspective. So Billionaire is a game. It's a Monopoly style game, but instead of collecting properties, you're collecting, assets of, super jets, yachts, and supercars, and living the life of a billionaire. Which, hopefully in the near future I'd be able to do so myself, and make it a reality. After doing my pitch, I believe you may have seen that the Dragons were all so positive about not just how we dressed with our matching suits and our matching ties and trainers, but how I stood there and composed myself as a 15-year-old doing a pitch on Dragons Den. Obviously, it was a difficult moment, it was a stressful moment, and it would be naturally. But, just seeing someone, five dragons that I've looked up to, all my life as an entrepreneur, obviously them having been so successful and having made it with lots of different types of companies, startups, so on and so forth. That was a great and very honorable moment, and one that I'll remember and will keep me wanting to do more. Having such great compliments from such, big people is obviously something that I'll always remember.